Funny. Yes, but not funny, haha. Funny, weird.
Funny. But not funny, haha. Funny, you're a fucking narcissist.
The smear campaign. Know it well. The thing is, it hurts, doesn't it? When people are smearing you to other people believe bad things about you that are simply not true because they're being spread. It's painful. It's painful to think of what other people are thinking of you. A big mistake, though, is to try and defend yourself against a smear campaign. It's never something that's going to work. That is, of course, unless you have a very highly publicised, televised court case where everybody can see the evidence, and that doesn't happen to most of us. So what can you actually do? Remember, the narcissist will only carry on these tactics against you and get their supply from that as long as they think it's working. If they know they're hurting you by spreading lies about you, if they really understand how bad it's making you feel, then of course they're going to keep doing it. The only defence you have is not to react. The only way to make it eventually stop is to not react. Remember, you can't control what other people think of you. You can't control what other people say about you. You can't really control anything that's going on outside of yourself, which is really quite terrifying sometimes if you think about it. You have no control over anything, so it makes you feel helpless. But the one thing that you can have absolute control over is the way you react emotionally to it. It's the only thing you've got. It's the only thing you can control, but it is also the only thing you need to control. And when you have that control over your own emotional responses, then if somebody comes to you and says that they've heard something awful about you, then it's not going to be like a knife in the heart. You're just going to know that, oh well, yeah, that's happened again. And then you can just say, yes, I understand that that is what people are being told about me. And then just change the subject. Now, when the narcissist understands that what they do isn't affecting you anymore, they will escalate for a little while. Expect that. But eventually, when they don't get a response or a reaction from you, it becomes boring and they do eventually give up. So just remember the rule, don't feed the narcissist. And if you need help getting your emotional reaction under control, just give me a shout. I hope that helps.
A, B, C, D, E, F, you and your mom and your sister and your job and your broke ass car.
Signs you have a narcissistic sibling. Claire Hemmings, toxic relationship recovery expert. Sharing your childhood with a narcissistic sibling can be a real nightmare, especially if one or both of your parents are also narcissists. Sibling rivalry is pretty normal, but with a narcissistic sibling you can never ever win. They're probably the golden child of the family, the one who can do no wrong, while you and other siblings are always the scapegoats. You probably felt that nobody was interested in your thoughts, feelings and ideas, and you were constantly ridiculed, bullied and put down. You might be able to get some distance as an adult, but even then the experience can leave you struggling with anxiety and low self-esteem. So what are some characteristics of a narcissistic sibling? They always have to be the centre of attention. Their exaggerated sense of self-importance means that they constantly have to draw the attention back to themselves. They need constant approval and praise. They exaggerate their achievements and they're always looking for admiration, appreciation and validation. They're extremely jealous. They minimise and downplay your achievements. They have a huge sense of entitlement and they always act like you owe them something. They never accept responsibility, criticism or blame. If you're dealing with a narcissistic sibling or the effects of growing up with one, let's talk.
Crying.
Because you unfair me, and that's why I'm crying.
You're crying because you don't want to marry her?
Yeah.
Why not?
I will marry you.
Narcissistic siblings are not talked about enough. Sometimes they can be worse and be more impactful than an adult, than a parent, than a grandparent who has narcissism, because they go under the radar as well. So it's not seen as narcissism by the parent. So the kind of abuse that they put on their siblings isn't seen, isn't noticed, isn't acknowledged. And my field doesn't acknowledge enough the role of siblings that they have on each other. A lot of narcissistic siblings will split the family, divide the family. They think they're the best. And if you don't treat them as the best, then you're out. They're the ones that are going to get all the limelight. They're going to steal the show, steal the thunder. And the parents allow it because they don't see it as narcissism, even as adults. And the siblings allow it too, and they support it, and they rally around that narcissistic sibling, and you're out. The only way to stay in is to go along. Is that really what you want to do?
What's up, chosen ones? Today what I want to talk about is the narcissistic sibling. And the narcissistic sibling is they're insidious. They're very demonic and very jealous and envious of their empathic sibling. They will literally make your life hell from the beginning. They're supposed to be your best friend. They supposed to be like your best friend, the first people that you know, but they become your enemy. And the reason why is because they see your light before anybody else does. And they hate that shit because they know that they're not like you at all. They actually like to steal. They like to cheat people out of things. They like to lie. Like narcissistic siblings lie so much. They will lie on you as a kid, get you in trouble, make you get beatings. They will literally steal your stuff or break your stuff. They're evil. And when they grow up, it's even worse. They'll steal your inheritance money. Narcissistic.
You will never have a good relationship with a narcissistic sibling. Even when you reach adulthood, do not expect them to change. A narcissistic sibling is highly manipulative and will turn your other siblings against you and even your parents as they covertly abuse you. To the outside world, they will play the perfect role. And as you suffer in silence, no one will believe you. They create chaos all around you, lie, and will bring you down to your lowest. This abuse does not change as you get older. They may try to be your best friend and may even try to be involved in your children's lives, but they do not have your best interest at heart.
1. Extremely self-centered, wanting everything their own way. 2. Extremely envious of you, projecting those feelings of envy onto you, bringing you down to raise themselves up. 3. Only interested in you if it was to meet a need of their own. 4. Believe they're entitled to have whatever they want of yours. A lack of concern if it's yours. They believe they're entitled to take it. 5. The entitled hypocrite. So one rule for them, another for you. They can have your stuff, but you can't have theirs. 6. Lack of empathy, little compassion or thought to your feelings or opinion. 7. Quiet or loud smugness when things go wrong for you. 8. They may have plotted and planned against you. 9. They may have bullied, intimidated, stole from you. 10. They may have threatened you if you told anyone. 11. They play nice when they want something from you.
Have you ever protected somebody's reputation by not telling your side of the story? Have you ever watched them humiliate you and then play victim to the public? That's a whole different level of self-control.
Not all relationships are perfect. There are those that have a narcissistic sibling. This can create feelings of guilt and shame and can be exhausting. Here are some signs of a narcissistic sibling. 1. Your sibling believes they are more important than you. 2. Your sibling has to be the centre of attention. 3. Your sibling feels entitled to everything and deserves your parents' attention, a better job, a better partner, a better family, and everything for that matter. 4. There is a lack of empathy and your feelings do not matter. 5. Your sibling is a pathological liar. 6. Your sibling is extremely jealous of you. Dealing with a narcissistic sibling is not easy. Do not challenge your sibling and do not call them a narcissist. They will only turn everyone against you. The only option is to go no contact or limit contact.
We talk about having narcissists for siblings because as weird as it was seeing someone love their parent, it was even weirder when their sibling would be like their best friend. My brother was a narcissist and he was an asshole. Like, my live-in bully was always in competition with me and he just felt the need to hate on me for absolutely everything. And my mom would totally gaslight me and say, "Oh, is he being mean to you? Because he always tells me how much he loves you." Pretty much like right before I went no contact with both of them, she said that again to me on the phone. And I was like,
Well, he never tells me. And that's when I realized, like, no, this isn't a real brother. Like, you can't be friends with this kind.
Tell me that you have a narcissistic, abusive sibling without telling me that you have a narcissistic, abusive sibling. I'll go first. My mom just bought this house. I feel like a lot of people talk about narcissistic abuse with like romantic partners and parents a lot, but nobody actually talks about siblings and how it affects the family and the family unit. So I just want to open this up for anyone who wants to talk about it. Do I feel bad about blasting my youngest brother on the internet? A little bit, but do I feel like it might help a lot of people to talk about it in a community that is safe and positive, because only safe and positive comments will be tolerated? If you have hateful things to say, please don't comment them. There's clearly enough anger in this house.
Look, I don't know who needs to hear this, but be careful with those stepchildren and those half-children that you bring into your home. Sibling abuse is real, whether it's sexual, emotional, physical, verbal, it is real. I'm talking from personal experiences. Be careful. A lot of times you think it's outside the home, and sometimes it's right there in the home. So look for signs, when your kids start acting out and, doing different things. Just watch and pay attention. Because as an adult, it's hard healing from those things. And sometimes it can be so traumatic that you develop amnesia. Because that's what I went through, childhood amnesia from those types of traumas. So I'm just saying, be careful out there, y'all. Look out. Keep your kids safe, okay? Peace, love, and light.
Good evening again. So, I just wanted to share a flashback of what I've had when I was at this damn psych ward 2 years ago. Of course, the worst 2 weeks of my life. I mean, seriously, still traumatizes me to this day. And to mention that the last person I mentioned in my video was a relative of mine, which I could admit that was a sibling. Now, the person who did not give up on me, a relative of mine, when they had went to go and see me at the psych ward back then, they had told me that they suggested me to read a book, which I am very familiar with. The title of that book is called The Alchemist, which the author of that book is by the name of Paulo Coelho. So they had explained to me that they were going to get me a copy, and what they would do was send my sibling the money so they can order the book. When my sibling came to visit me at the psych ward the next day, she gives me her copy of the book, only to find that this was the copy she given to me, where it was all torn. I barely touched this book, but this is the condition of how she gave it to me. Obviously, my response was wanting to throw it out in the trash in front of her face and not give a fuck about it. Though she did tell me that there was some information that she did underline and how it might be kind of useful for me maybe one day to look at it. Though I honestly knew what her intention was. All behind that, it was just her being selfish, and of course of her just wanting to get a new copy. My sibling has always been that kind of person where they always want the spotlight to themselves. Even to a point when we used to go out in public places or to events where they would always like to take pictures of themselves and would like it to be in the best condition possible. But when it came to taking photos of me, it always came looking all fucked up. Now, duets or stitches that I've done with the spiritual whistleblower, where she had explained in one of her videos of narcissistic friends, and also this can include narcissistic family members, of where they seem like they have great intentions for you, but honestly, they are very shady. Where they intend to do some very, spiteful and devious things that you would not seem to notice until afterwards. This would include at times when we used to have events or family gatherings and they would smear campaign me. One of the reasons why I decided to fully go no contact with them.
Red flag. Red flag. Red flag. Red flag.
Signs of a narcissistic sibling. Let's go. They always put down your accomplishments and try to outdo you. They force their advice on you, and if you don't do what they told you to do, they bully you and put you down. They may tell everyone your deepest, darkest secrets as a way to punish you for not doing things their way. They may tell your deepest, darkest secrets as a way to embarrass you and to knock you down a few pegs. You often find yourself dumbfounded and thinking, how is this person so evil? They may be physically abusive towards you. If you try to tell anyone, they'll either not believe you because the person is so amazing with other people, or they'll just shrug it off and say it's sibling rivalry. They might use your deepest, darkest secrets as blackmail or treat you as though you owe them because you confided in them. Whenever you're in a public setting, such as Christmas dinner or a Thanksgiving dinner, what have you, they will bring up your mistakes and any failures that you've ever had to try to make you look bad.